Next at 11, we have reaction from California healthcare workers on the new COVID protocols. The president of the State Nurses Association saying it's a major disaster waiting to happen.
Thank you for watching KION TV, KMUVLD, Monterey Salinas.
Right now on KION News at 11, nurses fighting back against controversial new COVID rules for healthcare workers in California. Plus, what authorities believe started a devastating apartment fire that left 19 people dead in New York City.
Plus, I'm tracking a weather system. You can see the clouds here on the way into California, what you can expect as we head into the work week.
Plus, a beloved TV dad has died at the age of 65. We take a look back at the career and legacy of Bob Saget.
This is KION News Channel 546 at 11.
Thanks for joining us on this Sunday night. I'm Phil Aldridge. Healthcare workers in the state of California can go back to work even if they test positive for COVID-19. That's according to a set of controversial new guidelines. Stephanie Lynn has reaction from healthcare workers and the response from the state health department.
It's a major disaster waiting to happen.
Healthcare workers speaking up across the state, raising concerns over new public safety guidelines released today.
I think it's very callous and it's putting our patients and ourselves in grave danger.
This morning, the State Department of Public Health declaring all healthcare workers who test positive for COVID and show no symptoms may go back to work immediately without isolation and without testing. Healthcare workers who were exposed and show no symptoms of the virus may also return to work immediately without quarantine and testing, but they must wear an N95 mask. The rules go in place starting today through February 1st.
It's scary, the idea that we could be transmitting COVID to the people that we care for every day.
Dennis Anderson is in his 20th year as a phlebotomist. He works now with Dignity Health in Folsom.
When you step into an ER right now or you walk through an ICU, people are getting that deja vu.
Already inundated with non-COVID related issues, they're also working through another COVID surge that experts say could peak in a matter of days.
March 2020.
March 2020 all over again.
I brought these concerns to the state. A representative did not respond to my question about whether the guidelines could expose patients to COVID-19, but wrote, due to critical staffing shortages currently being experienced across the healthcare system because of the Omicron variant, the California Department of Public Health is temporarily adjusting the return to work criteria.
In order for us to be able to take care of our patients, we need to be in the best of health. And so going to work, sick, very well knowing that we have the virus, will not be a good fit for our patients.
Lynn reporting. Right now, the U.S. is averaging about 700,000 new cases per day. That's double from the previous peak 1 year ago. Liliana Luciano is in Santa Monica tonight with the latest.
Anxious Americans are standing in long lines and staring at empty shelves in the scramble for scarce COVID tests. The rush fueled by Omicron's rapid spread.
There's a lot of people walking around with mild illness or asymptomatic infection who don't know it, who are spreading it.
New COVID cases are soaring, with 99% of Americans living in areas at high risk for infection. Hospitalizations are up nearly 30%, straining many medical centers.
I don't know when a finish line will be. I don't see one.
When millions of kids return to school tomorrow, they'll face COVID-caused staff shortages and increased infections. More than 5,400 schools reported disruptions of in-person learning.
It's completely empty. It's pretty crazy. There's no one there.
As Chicago's stalemate with teachers to return to class drags into a second week, the nation's largest school districts, New York and Los Angeles, are staying open.
Everyone's trying their best to keep kids in school because at the end of the day, that's the best place for kids to be.
Omicron outbreaks and bad weather still have airlines struggling to rebound. This weekend, more than 5,000 flights were canceled.
This testing site is free for people who have an appointment, but for those who want to get their hands on the rapid at-home tests, well, those have been hard to come by, and the Biden administration hasn't started shipping them yet. It could still be weeks before they reach people's mailboxes, and these cases are spiking almost everywhere.
And 200 California National Guard members are being deployed across the state to provide help to overwhelmed COVID testing centers. Governor Gavin Newsom activated the Guard on Friday in the middle of the surge of the new cases due to that Omicron variant. May also allow sites to add more testing appointments. Sergeant Victor Del Real says the Guard is helping with translation and pre-registration. The National Guard's deployment could last through mid-February.
At the moment right now, what we're doing is we are walking through the line, making sure everybody is already signed up or signing up. And if they need any help signing up, then that's our main priority at the moment.
Well, I've been online since yesterday looking for places, and everybody was booked out till the end of the month.
Governor Newsom is also asking the California legislature for a huge spending package in their upcoming session. Newsom wants to dedicate $2.7 billion to expand testing and to boost hospital staffing. California had more than 10,000 people hospitalized with COVID-19 on Friday, or about half of the peak reached during last winter's surge. Across the nation now, a Sunday morning fire at a New York City apartment building has killed at least 19 people, including 9 children. That's according to city officials. Tom Hansen reports from the scene of that fire in the Bronx.
The fire that swept through a Bronx apartment building Sunday is one of New York City's deadliest in more than 3 decades.
I never expected 2022 to come in this way.
The blaze took the lives of adults and children and injured dozens, including several who were hospitalized in critical condition.
My entire department mourns along with the families here today. And our entire city. We're all about saving lives, and the loss of one life is sad for us.
City officials say firefighters found victims on every floor of this 19-story building and were rescuing some who were in cardiac and respiratory arrest.
Black smoke I could barely see from me to you.
About 200 firefighters responded after the fire broke out around 11 a.m. Sunday. This resident says people fled their apartments and took temporary shelter in hers.
Once the fire department got there and they was able to get us out, they said, follow the stairs until you see light.
Officials said the fire originated in a duplex apartment on the 2nd and 3rd floors, caused by a malfunctioning electric space heater.
The fire consumed that apartment that is on 2 floors and part of the hallway.
The commissioner said firefighters found the door to the apartment open, which allowed smoke to spread through the 120-unit building. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
Okay, thanks, Tom. This morning's fire happened only days after 12 people, including 8 children, were killed in a row house fire in Philadelphia. New tonight, a Taco Bell worker is dead after being shot at a drive-thru in South Los Angeles. It happened just before 11 o'clock last night. Police say an employee denied service to a man who attempted to pay with counterfeit cash. According to the LAPD, the suspect then fired multiple shots. The 41-year-old victim died at the scene. The suspect is still on the loose, and police have not released a description. Incredible scene caught on camera when a train slammed into a single-engine plane after it crashed near the railroad tracks, just minutes after the pilot was pulled to safety. It happened this afternoon in Pacoima. That is video of the scene shot around 4 o'clock today. Investigators are still examining that wreckage. Bringing Chief Meteorologist Dan Cianca. No complaints about the weather today, Dan. It was beautiful in January.
Just gorgeous. High temperatures, some 5, in some cases 8 degrees above normal for this time of year. Let's take a look at our weather graphics here. We'll start off with a look at the sunset from Salinas tonight. Had a little bit of color in the sky and the front edge of some high clouds beginning to move into the area, but for most of the day we were under almost full sunshine, and that meant some warm temperatures. Take a look at some of these readings. Salinas, it's 69 degrees. You normally should be around 62 this time of year, 63, somewhere right in that neighborhood. Pretty warm there. Santa Cruz also 68 degrees. Hollister at 67. Monterey at 66. Even Pacific Grove in the mid-60s today. In fact, the cool spot was in the 60s. It's last time I saw our cool spot in the 60s was probably in November sometime. So we were certainly on the warm side today here across the Central Coast. And now some clouds have moved in and acted as a blanket, have kept things pretty mild. Last night it was a little on the chilly side. We got down into the 30s in many of our inland valleys, and even near the coast some spots dipped into the 30s. But at the moment, most of us are in the upper 40s around the bay. A few spots inland dipping into the upper 30s, but certainly not as cold as last night. And the reason is those clouds that I mentioned, some high cloud cover beginning to fill in ahead of a weather system that's Well, maybe not even ahead of it. This is really the weather system working its way in tonight. Now, right now it's just bringing some clouds, but it is going to be with us as we head into the morning commute. I'll talk about some of the impacts you may see in the full forecast coming up.
For that, thanks, Dan. Bob Saget, the actor and comedian known to millions as America's Dad, died today at the age of 65. Orange County, Florida sheriff's deputies found Saget's body in his Ritz-Carlton hotel room in Orlando earlier today. Saget was in Florida for a stand-up comedy tour. He performed his last show yesterday at the Ponte Vedra Concert Hall in Jacksonville. Deputies say there was no sign of foul play or drug use, but the medical examiner will make a final determination. In addition to playing Danny Tanner on the hit TV series Full House, Saget also hosted America's Funniest Home Videos. Bob Saget was 65. Turning to our consumer alert, Dole Fresh Vegetables is issuing a voluntary recall on certain packaged salads from its plant in Soledad because of potential for listeria. Products recalled from the Soledad facility are identified with a letter B and have a best if used by date between December 23rd, 2021 and January 8th of this year. You should be able to see the product codes in the upper right corner of the packaging containing iceberg lettuce. Listeria can cause serious and sometimes fatal infections in children and older people. So far, no illness has been reported. Well, we're just getting started at 11 o'clock. It came down to the final Sunday of the regular season for the 49ers. Could they beat the Rams to get into the playoffs? And if they do, who are they playing? We'll let you know. Plus, Klay Thompson reintroduces himself to the Warrior faithful. His return to the court more than 2 years in the making. And later, a big rebound after years of decline. Monarch butterflies are back in huge numbers. That's next.
For local stories that matter,